Okay, hey everyone, Tekking here, and welcome to this week's One Piece chapter review. I'm actually getting it on time this week, so that helps. Before we get into it, though, I just want to make an announcement, and it's really something that I'll admit where I'm wrong and stuff like that. You know, I have not read this chapter yet, but I just want to throw out there that I think I was wrong about pudding. You know, I always used to say that we don't want pudding, I don't want pudding on the crew because of we don't want to introduce that level of crazy, you know what I mean? Freaking split personality, yandere madness going on. But, you know, she seems to really like Sanji, and Sanji really seems to like her, and everything seems to be going good. So, you know, why ruin that? And the Straw Hats are all kind of crazy in their own unique ways, so, you know what, I think I'm fine with it. As of right now, I am fine with Pudding joining the crew and marrying Sanji. I don't see any problems with this whatsoever. Hold on a second, somebody at the door. This is unusual. Don't usually get visitors. Oh, okay, that's a police car. Hi, officer. Can I help you with something? So I might have a court date coming up. Hey everybody, Tekking101 here, and welcome to One Piece Chapter 891 review titled, Believing in Me. But don't believe in me. Believe in yourself. Believe in the me that believes in yourself, that believes in my postmaster, that believes in my neighbor, Mr. Kankerschmidt, that believes in the me that believes in you! Yeah! That was a Gurren Lagann reference, if anybody... Okay, whatever. And moving on, I ruined the jokes. Everybody knew that was a Gurren Lagann reference. If you don't know it was, then go watch Gurren Lagann. Seriously, you're not going to be disappointed. Anyway, so, yeah, cover page this week. We go back to the Tontatas on Dressrosa. You know, Leo, you know, I'm going to be a pirate! Which basically just means, yeah, as I figured, he's just playing dress up, putting on the pirate hat and the sword, and riding around on a dog around town, and making his very piratey decree that we are gonna rebuild the entire town, me hearties! You know, like, that's what pirates are known to do. Go to island and help in reconstruction efforts after a even more deadly pirate destroyed the town. You know, okay, you know, if we're being honest here, technically it wasn't all about Doflamingo leveling the town. Most of this was probably due to Luffy's King Kong gun, splitting the entire freaking town in half. I mean, yeah, I'm just saying, the birdcage fucked a lot of stuff up, but, you know, that was like a meteor impact, you know, and then it left a giant hole because there was that whole underground shipping area, which I wonder if they're going to turn that into like an amusement park now or something. They have all this space down here, you might as well use it into something. Turn it into Dofi Land, an entire amusement park based off the Doflamingo family, and you might think that's rather insensitive because they're the ones that, you know, held Dressrosa in their devilish grip for 10 years, but that's what the perfect way to do to get them back at you, you know, to make fun of them. You can have Doflamingo walking around in a giant stuffed, like, you know, outfit, like a mascot, and he's like this really dorky expression on his face. That's how you get back at him. Alright, so anyway, yeah, nothing really much going on there. It's just, you know, Leo and the Tontatas helping out in the reconstruction efforts. They're a lot stronger than they look, and you have Tank in the background, and, you know, Chief of the Palace Guards. He seems to be doing well, so good job, Tontatas. Keep it up. Alright, so we open up the chapter with a new island being introduced in Totland. I'm actually glad that Oda's doing this, considering there were like 35, 36 islands in the Totland archipelago, and we only really, up until Whole Cake Island, we only like saw or heard of like only a handful. I like that during this grand chase, it really does seem like we're making full advantage of Big Mom's territory, you know, like we're going from island to island, even if it's only briefly, even when it's only Big Mom, you know, stamping around and going to Nut Island, or we see Chip Island or whatever, we actually get to to see all these islands that make up the archipelago. Are we going to get to see all of them? Probably not, but it's cool. And we open up this chapter with Wheat Island, Soft Flower Town, which is actually, this is the island that Katakuri rules over as the Minister of Flour, or the Minister of Wheat. And given Katakuri's obsession with donuts is not really obsession, it's borderline fetish. You know, at night when he shuts his door to his bedchambers and all of his adoring fans are like, "We love you, Katakuri!" Katakuri's like playing it cool, locks his door, turns off the lights, and "You've been waiting, sweetie," you know, and it's just a donut sitting on his bed. It gets disturbing, but yeah, this is the island he rules over. We really don't get to see much of it, though. We see a random person looking in the mirror, maybe like to shave in the morning, and all of a sudden the glass just shatters. And this is the after effect of Katakuri and Luffy's fight in Miro World. And everybody on the island, it at first was just kind of a cool thing, like, oh yeah, Katakuri's beating the crap out of Luffy in Miro World. Now it's becoming kind of an inconvenience for everybody because they've been fighting, like they started their fight, like, we know Katakuri's snack time was at like 3 o'clock and now it's like going on 9:30, and I think they started their fight a little bit before that, probably closer to like 2 o'clock, maybe like 1, something like that. So they've been fighting in Mirror World for, at most, we're talking like 8 hours, or at least maybe like, 7. But it's been a long time, and because Mirror World is connected to the entire Whole Cake Island, all the mirrors, every time one of them launches an attack, they're probably shattering mirrors by accident, and so random mirrors all over Whole Cake Island, not even Whole Cake Island, over the entire Totland, are shattering. So it's like people are like looking, it's like, oh, I'm gonna check my makeup, oh shit, and they just see like Luffy and Katakuri running around like they can barely make it out of this fight going on. So it's rather annoying to most of the people. We see Mont d'Or, and we see it's Duke Chicken. Yeah, he's there, the Duke Chicken, still rocking strong. We see Stussy, and big news! Which I'm not really, like, Roger's really into him, a lot of other people are really into him. He's big news Morgans, but alright, he's Big Bird. That's cool, I guess, he's neat design. Maybe do stuff cool later, but anyway, yeah, they're all basically hanging out. Of course, nobody knows that Stussy is actually Secret Agent Stussy, undercover operative for the CP Aegis Zero, which we need to have like a spin-off show for her now, how like the Marvel Universe has like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I think there's like 2 other, shows about like agents from S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff like that. We need to have that Secret Agent Stussy, by day. She is the ruler of the pleasure quarter, the queen pin of all of the escorts in the One Piece world, but by night she dons the sexy, skin-tight leather outfit and goes around and invades places and gets the scoops, takes out people with her flying finger pistol. It's pretty cool. I think I would watch that. She brings up to everybody there, Mont d'Or and Duke Chicken and Big News and everybody like that. Big News probably already knows it, that the Tamate Bako, you took it from the Straw Hats, right? That big explosion, that box was caused by that. So it's implying there that she's setting up the Straw Hats as the ones that actually caused that massive explosion that wrecked the Tea Party, destroyed the cake, and got Big Mom on a rampage, even though it really, she took it from the Straw Hats to begin with, because that was the treasure that they got from Neptune's palace. So even without Stussy intervening, they would have figured out, like, well, they didn't know the Tamate Bako was the thing that caused the explosion. If they knew that, then they would have immediately blamed the Straw Hats. Be like, oh, the Straw Hats booby-trapped it and caused this horrible, destruction of the Tea Party. But basically, Stussy is just the one connecting the dots here. Yeah. That big explosion, that was caused by the Tamate Bako. The Straw Hats must have, booby-trapped it when they put it in the treasure, and then the Big Mom Pirates took it. It doesn't really matter at this point, considering the fact that the Straw Hats have already done all this other stuff to destroy, Totland and Whole Cake Island and wreck the Tea Party. So it's like, they're not going to get off on this. They already are like 6 feet under. Stussy's just kind of digging them down even further than that. And you gotta love Stussy here. She's just chilling out, drinking tea. She just drops this like not a big deal. She's like, oh yeah, by the way, that Tamate Bako was, that was the big explosion. The Straw Hats must have rigged it. Yeah, it's crazy, huh? So we cut back over to the mirror world now. This is where most of the chapter is located. We cut back over to the Luffy Katakuri fight. It's been a few chapters since we've seen that, so I'm kind of interested in where this is going. We get introduced to a new character in the mirror world that's observing the fight between Luffy and Katakuri. Like I said, the fight's been going on for quite a long time. So at this point, they've kind of gathered quite an audience. People are, you can just, I guess, using Brulee's power, entered the mirror world now. Luffy is no longer, he doesn't have Brulee, like, tied to him now. So they, I guess people can just pass through as ever Brulee wills it. And this new member of the family is the 33rd daughter of the Charlotte family, Charlotte Flambe. I know that reference! I know the cooking reference! Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm like 99.9% sure I'm right on this. Isn't a flambe like when you're cooking with like a pan and you take alcohol and you douse it inside the thing, and that creates that really cool effect you see in all these cooking shows where you see a chef cooking and douses it with alcohol and flames go up, and it's like, yeah, I don't know what the purpose of that is. Maybe caramelizing or making it taste better. I don't know, but it looks good. But that's what that is, right? Totally. I gotta reclaim my cooking credits after the whole pasta guy who turned out to be like a cream or something. Yeah, okay, we're good, right? We're solid, right? Bump it. Right, but new member of the Charlotte family, Charlotte Flambe. She's 33rd daughter, 15 years old, and we don't really get to see if she has any special power, but given her outfit and what it seems to be like she's floating in the middle of the air and she's like blowing a bubble, I think it might be possible that she might have had like a balloon devil fruit. I don't think we've seen anything like that yet, because she's floating off the ground and her dress seems to be like, a giant balloon that she's sitting on, but it's actually her dress. And she's blowing a giant like bubble, so like bubble gum, so maybe balloon fruit or something like that. Remember way back in Alabasta when Pell came out and said there's only 5 devil fruits capable of flight? So his was obviously one, the falcon fruit, and then of course you had Shiki's float fruit, which Strong World was not canon, but Shiki himself is canon, so the float fruit is actually canon. So that would be 2. But is this fruit one of them, or is it just, I don't consider floating the ability to fly. It's not the same thing. It's just you can hover in one space, so Shiki's float fruit does kind of allow him to fly, though, so it's kind of like, really shouldn't be called the float fruit. It should be called like the fly fruit, because he can fly with it, just generically. But this girl just seems to be hovering in one specific area. I don't know, or it might not even be a devil fruit ability. It might just be something that she has with her outfit, or giant inflatable outfit. I don't know. But, oh wait, hold on a second, I just realized something. She's the 33rd daughter of the family, right? So, and Pudding is the 35th, right? I think I'm remembering that correctly. So wait, if she's the 33rd and she's 15 years old, then that means that Pudding is... Oh. That's, see, that makes sense now. Okay, okay. In all seriousness, let's disregard all the nonsense, the skits and everything. Let's actually talk about this. Okay. So, if we're going with this and it's not a mistranslation or anything like that, I mean, I guess it could be not even a mistranslation. We've seen before that Oda has messed up the numberings of Big Mom's family before. Like, I think the one that's the most obvious is he messed up Praline, Aladdin's wife, the half mermaid, human, the member of the family. I think they set her up as the 29th daughter originally, and that spot was also held by a member of the Snake Neck tribe, like Mascarpone, and it was like they were twins. They were Mascarpone and Jascarpone. I think Jascarpone was the 29th daughter, so Oda had to go back and modify that a little bit, so Praline, I think, is now the 21st daughter, and then you have, Jascarpone, which is the 29th proper. So, for all we know, it could be something like that, but I don't know. If we're taking it as just what we got right now, by this logic, that means Pudding is less than 15 years old. And we don't exactly know how old she is exactly, we just know that she's younger, because from what we understand, Big Mom gives birth to children every single year, but she has 85 kids. That doesn't mean she was giving birth for 85 years, she's not even that old. What it means, though, is sometimes she gives birth more to one kid in a year, but we know that Pudding is unique, because Pudding is a member of the Third Eye clan, and she's the only one in the entire Big Mom family that has the ability of the Third Eye. That's why Big Mom was fawning over her so much, and that's why why she pays special attention to her and everything. Not special attention in the terms of, like, motherly love, because she doesn't really, she you know, basically berates her own daughter and tells her, you know, she's creepy, but Big Mom cares about Pudding in the sense that it could further her own power to become the pirate queen, so that's why she cares a lot about Pudding. So, with that being said, I think she's the only member of the Third Eye clan, which means that she was probably not born, she was probably an only child when she was born to that particular husband. So, for all we know, Flampe, she's the 33rd daughter. The 33rd daughter and the 34th daughter could have been born in the same year. So they could, like, she could have a sister that's 15, also, born in the same time she is. And then Pudding could have been the 35th daughter, born the following year. But even with that being the case, we know that she would either be 14 years old or possibly less than that, okay? Now, look, we've seen, like, characters, like Rebecca. Rebecca from Dressrosa, 16 years old. I repeat, 16 years old, Oda! Dear God! But the fact that 14 or possibly younger, and you're drawing her like that, I kind of want to be like, Oda, Oda, you made a mistake. Please tell me you made a mistake. Like Flampe is actually the 37th daughter or something. Like, even if you want to make Pudding 16, the same age as Rebecca, that's still kind of because Sanji's 21 and all. But at least, you know, just from a design perspective, Rebecca, Pudding, okay, same age, I get that. But the fact that Pudding is 2-3 years younger than Rebecca and still is designed like that, it is kind of creepy. Actually, it's very creepy, actually. You know, now, from the perspective of the marriage thing, I can actually understand that, because this has always been like a political marriage, you know, like the idea of Pudding marrying Sanji and then Big Mom acquiring the powers of the Germa. This has always been a political marriage, and they were like an arranged one. They had no choice in the matter to get married, right? And this, of course, if you've watched Game of Thrones or know anything about, you know, history, marriage was political for a very long time. It wasn't up until, like, the past few hundred years the whole idea of getting married based solely on one's love for each other was something that was more accepted as commonplace. But a long time, you know, it was, you know, you marry to gain, you know, further strength, you know, joining houses or anything like that. And if you've watched Game of Thrones, as I said, it basically works like as long as the woman is old enough to bear children, she can be married off to any other ruler of a kingdom. It could be much older than her as long as she's able to bear children. So that's how it went in that particular, you know, fictional world, as well as in our world for a long time. So that's where this comes from, arranged marriage. So that makes sense. It's still pretty creepy if we're gonna go with that age, you know, Pudding being 14 or possibly younger. Yeah, so, and does Sanji know? I feel like he doesn't know. I'm gonna give Sanji some credit and just say he never, because Sanji's very polite. He's a gentleman. He's not going to go up and be like, "How old are you, young lady?" That's not very polite. So I'm just gonna give Sanji some, you know, the due deference and say that he doesn't actually know how old Pudding is. If that is in case where we're actually going with this, where Oda actually is intending her to be younger than Flampe, who is 15, so therefore making Pudding 14 or possibly younger. Hoping that he just messed it up, but considering where we're gonna go with this, it actually doesn't seem that way, because Flampe actually goes on, I dropped my mouse here. Flampe actually goes on, though, to say that I have 41 older brothers. So that would mean that there's, like, I think there's 46 sons in the Big Mom family. So that means that there are 5 boys in the family that are younger than she is. And then she goes on to say, she doesn't say how many sisters she has that are younger than her. She doesn't give out that information. All she says is, I have 41 older brothers, and 40 of them have selected me as the winner of the Best Little Sister Award. I'm super popular. That's a weird kind of thing they have set up. Is that like an annual award thing? You know, I guess that's a big family, 85 of them. There's an annual award where all the brothers step out and be like, "This is my favorite little sister." I'm like, there's some complexes going on in Totland. You need to get like a You need to get some psychologists in here, stat. This is getting really messed up, okay? But anyway, then she goes on to state that Brother Katakuri is the favorite of all 38 of his little sisters. Now, there's 39 daughters in the Big Mom family, and Katakuri is the second son. Of course, you have the first daughter, Compote, the chick with the giant fruit hat, which I still is probably mispronouncing her name, but whatever. So she was born before Katakuri, so therefore Katakuri has 38 sisters. So all of this information seems to be adding up. Like I said, it would help if Flampe actually said how many sisters she had that were younger than her, but she doesn't say that. So, you know, we don't know really how it breaks down. So that's the case there. I'm gonna move on because this is kind of freaky for me, you know, a little bit, considering this is a, 15-year-old girl. They're like, I'm gonna make Brother Katakuri love me just like everybody else does. Like, okay, you're brother and sister, that's kind of freaky that you care that much about your brother's affection, but Totland is a weird place. I can't say I understand how things operate in the borders, but I'm just gonna move on now. Alright, so cutting back over to Luffy and Katakuri. Yeah, let's cut over to that. Oh, and by the way, Flampe was having like one of her snipers trying to shoot Luffy, but they were moving so fast, and Luffy seems to be speeding up even though he is getting beaten down. The sniper wasn't actually even able to hit him, even with like a crosshairs right on Luffy, dead to rights, fire, and by the time that the bullet actually reaches him, or the arrow reaches him, because it looks like a crossbow, by the time that actually gets there, Luffy is already speeded around. They're just moving way too damn fast. So during the fight, Luffy is basically, he's just stubborn from what they're saying. It's not like Katakuri is having a hard time. It's just that no matter how many times he pounds Luffy into the ground, and apparently he has mochi pounded Luffy basically again and again and again and again in the past, 7 or 8 hours or whatever, and he just keeps getting back up. And Katakuri still, he seems a little beaten up. It seems like Luffy managed to get a few shots out on him, but the damage, Luffy has incurred is much higher than that. He just will not give up. And I still love the way that Katakuri fights, how he basically creates donuts out of mochi, and then they mimic his hands, so the arms then come out of the donuts, so he makes the movement like this, but the actual fist that hits Luffy comes out of the donuts. It's kind of like a warping punch effect, where the donuts will appear around Luffy, and then they're the things that actually hit him no matter where Luffy is, and using Katakuri's observation, he can pinpoint the exact place to hit, to nullify attacks and all that stuff. And so Luffy is managing to dodge some attacks, but he's on the edge of exhaustion, and some attacks still manage to hit him. Katakuri does a volley of block mochi punches. A few of those hit him, but he manages to dodge some as well. And Katakuri is slowly but surely realizing, not all of his attacks are hitting. He fires a volley of, 10 punches, 8 of them hit, but he still manages to dodge 2. And because Katakuri can see the future, I can see that's bugging him a little bit. He's like, damn it. He's a perfectionist, or he's supposed to be seen as a perfectionist. So the fact that he's only hitting 80%, 90%, even if he hit 99% of the time, that would bug him psychologically, because he's supposed to be seen as this flawless guy. He looks right into Luffy's eyes and he says, why won't they die? Why won't, the spark leave your damn eyes? And he smacks him into the freaking wall. He's getting a little bit agitated. He's raising his voice a little bit. And that's the whole goal of Luffy, to kind of make his observation get unbalanced a little bit. So he knocks Luffy into a wall, encases him in mochi. Luffy struggles a little bit, but then decides just to break out of the wall the opposite end, gets out that way, and then he proceeds to get up, and it happens in a split second. Luffy's on the ground. As soon as his head, pops back up, it's fished right in his face. Bam! And Luffy's like, I'm gonna throw a punch. Bam! I'm gonna throw a punch from my other. Bam! And he just gets slammed into the freaking ground. And Katakuri just says to him, he's just like, look, you tried to sit up, I punched you right in the face. Try to punch me with your left arm, boom, left shoulder. Try to punch me with your right arm, boom, right shoulder. Why won't you stay down? It's not gonna work. Alright, and Katakuri is getting kind of, he's getting tired of this shit, It's just like, come on, man. I can keep this up, but it's been 8 hours. Come on. what is this shit? You know, like, when are you gonna die? And so Luffy, he kind of relaxes after getting beat down for, like, the umpteenth time, and he just kind of clears his head, and he remembers what Rayleigh taught him. He's like, you know, you can't just flail about wildly, Luffy. You can't fight the way you used to. You just can't go gear second, battling. You know, if you're gonna fight an opponent that has Haki the same as you, or superior Haki to you, you need to relax. You need to calm down and open your mind, and you need to attempt to, you know, use your Haki to its furthest. I imagine, like, that's not all the words that Rayleigh spoke, but it's probably something along those lines. You know, struggling about, flailing wildly is not going to help you in this situation. It's only going to be worse. So you need to focus. That's the key of this seminar. So Luffy focuses, and sure enough, right as Katakuri launches a giant block mochi, because he saw the future, you know, Luffy launches his Higanta, you know, no, Higanta, this is actually, this is Elephant Gun, because he's actually using the Haki. It's, you know, and if nothing else, Luffy's Haki is definitely superior than when he started this fight, because he's able, this is like an, like I said, 7-8 hour fight, for him to maintain the powers of armament. I mean, I'm sure it's on or off, but you figure, you know, Katakuri wouldn't keep letting Luffy, like, oh, my armament ran out, I'm gonna run away now, do. Okay, armament's back, fight for like a few other minutes, and like, hold on, armament died again, gotta go run away, and gotta... Alright, we're good. I don't think that would have worked that many times in a row. So if nothing else, Luffy's either learning how to ration his armament very well, very wisely, not using Gear 4th anymore, that's a big no-no, or he's just extended, his power of armament has increased, his control of it, and the duration of which he can use it. It's like you push somebody up against a wall, they have no choice but to fight back. So it's like, it's either, I'm gonna die if I can't use armament, so his body's pressing it to the very limits. I think Luffy's gonna be in a major world of hurt after this fight's over. Like, the after effects of this battle are probably going to hit him pretty damn hard, but for right now, he's managing to keep up with it. And so, the two fists clash in the air, and right at that time, Katakuri manages to kick Luffy away, but he realizes that right there, you know, he's definitely being able to see, it's infrequent. He's not doing it every single time I attack, but every now and then, he's able to see the exact same future that I am, which means his observation Haki is getting more astute. He's beginning to realize what's going on here. So only if it's like 1 out of every 10 times they battle. You know, like with the giant block mochi fist, he was able to see that, and Luffy was able to see that exact same future, and they clashed. Now, there's an easy way around this, because Katakuri can use this ability pretty much whenever he wants, as long as he stays calm and level-headed. So, even if Luffy sees even if he gets lucky and gets that 1 out of 10, or 1 out of 20, or whatever you want to call how often he can see the future, even if Luffy hits the jackpot and sees the exact future, Katakuri can just do it again and again and again and again, one after another. So in this instance, the fist clash, Luffy's like, yeah, I saw the future, but then Katakuri can just be like, oh, I'll just kick you then. And Luffy can't see that. He can't do it twice in a row. So that's the problem, though, but we're still getting there. Haki's getting better, and pretty soon maybe Luffy might actually force himself to be on the same level of Katakuri. Although, I think that would kind of cheapen it if Luffy achieved the same exact power that Katakuri has in this exact fight. So perhaps he might, you know, get a clue to get better, and he can train with it later on. But for right now in this fight, I think it's just he's got his Haki up on a level where he can manage to dodge and survive, and even get a hit out on Katakuri every once in a while. Not good enough to actually take the guy down, but definitely good enough to match him for the time being. Right. So after he kicks him, Katakuri just starts spawning like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 freaking mochi donuts over him, and he's like, don't get up anymore. You know, your plan is no secret to us. We know what you're trying to do. Cacao Island at 1 a.m. We know the whole plan. You're trying to meet up with your crew, the cake and all this stuff. We know what's going on. However, they don't really know what's going on. But Luffy states, you know, I will make it out of these mirrors. I promise. That's what's going to do. You know, it's going to happen. I'm going to get out of here alive. And Katakuri's just... Were you even listening to what I just said? You're not even paying attention to me at this point, are you? Because I can imagine they've probably had this conversation like 7, 8, 9, 10 times already, you know? They just keep going on. Like, come on, don't stand up. I will get out of here. Oh, jeez. Bam! Don't stand up. I'm gonna get back to my friends. Jesus Christ. You know? So we cut back over to Beijé's ship, and with the big reveal, ladies and gentlemen, here is the cake. guys! We did it! Da na 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 na. Okay, we did the cake. Okay, cake looks awesome too. Looks even better than the original wedding cake, in my opinion. You got some freaking chocolate drizzling off the top. You got some sugar skulls and some crosses. Looks pretty damn yummy to me. You got the little flower things there. All of the chefs are just doused in creamy liquid and goo from head to toe. Yeah. And so even pudding it. Oh no. Okay. Gotta be very careful how I make references to pudding from now on. Pudding is a very talented chef, and she has a very bright future ahead of her. Yeah, she worked really hard on this cake, so she deserves a well-deserved rest right now. So rest your eyes, Pudding. You deserved it. So, yeah, all of the chefs begin to collapse. Chiffon and Pudding and Sanji, they're still managing to stand up and maintain themselves, but everybody else is just exhausted from the cooking process. Reminds me of a cooking process from Toriko, how you have to, like, put all your stamina into making a dish, and then afterwards you, like, pass out. Kind of something like that. We have a little bit of a visit from Yandere Pudding. She makes an appearance, you know. Yeah, we have already finished the cake, but your friends are as good as dead, you know. And Sanji's like, yeah, that's nice. Anyway, we need to rendezvous with them, you know. And he basically comes down to this cool split shot between Luffy and Sanji. Luffy being covered in blood and all these battle wounds, and Sanji being covered in cream and you know, white substances, and they're like, oh, all of our friends, everybody's there, we're gonna meet up with them because they're believing in me. And we get this really cool shot here. Oh man, Luffy even looks more banged up here. One of his eyes is all swollen shut, like damn, he's bleeding down his face. Sanji's all doused in cream and crap. So we cut back over to the last scene of the chapter. It's back on the Thousand Sunny. I think this takes place like probably right after the end of last chapter, where Big Mom hopped on Prometheus. Prometheus has now swollen up to a huge, like, killer whale size sun that's just looming over them. It's kind of like Ace's Dienkai. The guy resembles it, the size of it. You know, Great Flame Commandment. I didn't think we'd ever see that again. Maybe Sabo would, but for right now, we get a good little preview of what that might look like. Big Mom is riding on top of Prometheus. Chopper goes into freaking Monster Point, and he's like, bring it on, Big Mom! And Nami's like, Chopper, it's not gonna help. You're not gonna be able to fight that, Yonko. And Chopper's like, well, I gotta try something. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, Chopper. I mean, you're not gonna win, but hey, at least you care enough about your friends. Like, look, we got nothing else, you know. You know, Jinbei is even saying, like, the sun is so big, even ocean water's not going to help. I mean, I don't know, Jinbei. I mean, yeah, I mean, if you can do that shoulder overthrow like a couple dozen times, maybe. I'm imagining Jinbei in the water just doing this, and he's sending out giant waves. Can Jinbei summon a tsunami? I guess probably not, or else he probably would have. Brook looks over at it and is like, so that's a Yonko's soul, the power of one of the emperors, and it really does look like we're all gonna die here. I mean, yeah, Chopper's in Monster Point, but there's no way he could manage to fight against this thing. He would just get absorbed in Prometheus and be a freaking, you know, country fried reindeer. So that's not really gonna help. Big Mom is just kind of looking down, and we don't really get to see a full view of her body to see how she looks. But she's like, it was quite fun. Now the cake! And sure enough, though, freaking last-ditch effort. It's awesome. Last scene of the chapter, Nami's looking out on the horizon of the ocean, and she sees a tiny little dot in the distance. And then Big Mom looks over, and she's like, ha ha! What is this wonderful aroma? Because it sets up like just like an atom bomb of deliciousness. Like even back, I forgot to mention this, but even back on the ship, Beige and all the fire tank pirates were like, it's a beautiful cake! You know, absolutely magnifique. I am doing an Italian accent now because they are mobsters, but they're like, we don't even need to poison this. So that, you know, it's just setting off a tremendous aroma that's being picked up by the wind, and Big Mom is being able to smell it from miles away. So hopefully next chapter Big Mom will just make a beeline for that delicious aroma. I don't see any other reason why she wouldn't, and because that's what she wants right now, and she would smell it, so she would make a beeline right for that aroma, and then absorb this cake. And I think what I think is going to happen is she's going to gain all of her weight back at once, and then her soul's going to like, get ripped out of her and then float up to heaven for a little bit and then crash back down. And in the intervening time while that's going on, while she's stuffing her face, the Straw Hats can make their way out of there in some way. Sanji can hop on the ship, so Sanji can meet back up with Nami and Brook and Jinbei here. As for Luffy in the mirror world, that's a little bit more difficult considering all these mirrors are shattering. They'd have to find one that doesn't, it's still, you know, that's still together. But I think they can manage it, and I think, I think the arc is going to be wrapping up soon. I was afraid to say that, because back in, like, when Big Mom first went on her rampage, I was like, it's supposed to be ending soon. I'm like, no, I'm just going to stop, but I think I'm going to make 5 chapters. It's going to be over within 5 chapters. I'm placing a lot of money on this bet. I'm putting my cred on the line here, but 5 chapters. At least 5 chapters with the wrap-up of Big Mom in the cake. All the Straw Hats are back together. 5 chapters, okay? So let's go with that. All right, that's everyone cool? All right, well, that's the end. Yeah, so really good chapter. I enjoyed it. It was a little bit weird with the whole pudding thing. I think I went into enough detail with that, but a lot of people, a lot of people were like, oh no. Maybe especially if you would have, you know, if you had a special relationship with pudding, you know, yeah, that might be a little bit more fucked up for you personally. That wasn't me, but, you know, if you, I could see where that would cause problems there. But yeah, you know what, Oda might come out and he might say that it is, like, it might be a problem with the numbering. Maybe if Flampe was, like, 30, like one of the last daughters, or not the youngest, because we know that we've seen, like, little kids. So they might have messed up the numbers a little bit, but we know Pudding is the 35th, because that was revealed, like, a long time ago. So maybe, but we don't know yet. I'm just saying it is kind of weird that if, you know, she's that young and you're drawing her in that way, it just seems inconsistent considering that Oda will, you know, little kid, you know, like Chimney. Chimney is drawn like a little girl. And then, of course, you have Rebecca, who's 16, who's drawn like wowza. So it's like, I guess there's a line there in the middle when they just meet, like puberty hits them like a freaking freight train, I guess. Oh, maybe maybe that explains what's up with her personality. Kind of like Mob Psycho, you know, the whole deal with Mob is that he has this, you know, the pressures of becoming a teenager and puberty, and that's what causes this other, you know, maybe it's something like that, I don't know. But, yeah, next chapter, I think we're gonna get to see some Big Mom on cake action. Oh, yeah. Gonna have to upload that stuff on Pornhub. That's gonna be some rated XXX crap. So, catch you back here next time and finish up maybe the Katakuri fight, too. Maybe not finish it up in terms of beating down Katakuri, but maybe escaping the mirror world now, because we're gonna get, you know, wrapping everything up. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. Tekking101 signing out. Yeah,